is the ability to act, be, or do anything with great strength. Power gives you that ability to, it's the force that lets you go infinitely above, far and beyond anything you could think, pray, dare ask, or even dream. When you think about power, what comes to your mind? Is it an explosion? Could it be a powerful person like a commander-in-chief? Or could it be even a dog walking his owner? Well, when I think about power, I think about this story. There was a woman who was just going about her business, traveling one day, listening to the music, having a good time, when suddenly she heard a voice that said, "Look to the left." And immediately she saw a car coming at her. A collision. So what started out as just a leisurely drive then became a walk, an experience. She found herself with massive injuries, a C2 fracture of the neck, a crushed hip socket, and a crushed ankle. And eventually, over a period of time in ICU and 9 hours of surgery, she found herself in a position where some people would call it powerless. So over the course of time, therapists came in and out. They taught her how to do small things that we all take for granted, like turning over, like pushing yourself up on the side, even sitting on the side of the bed. To finally one day, she was able to scoot on a transfer board and sit in a wheelchair. Woo, big deal. Then finally one of her surgeons came by. And he looked at the chart and he looked at her and he said, "You got up." She looked at him and said, "Well, yeah, you told me to." Why is that such a big deal? He told her that people with injuries as massive as yours often don't get up. She thought about that for a while. And she kept it in the back of her head, and this thought has remained with her every day since. And it's, if you don't get up, you won't get better. How many of you have been in a situation where you needed to get up? Maybe not from an accident, but maybe you needed to get up from some other source of pain. It could have been a divorce. It could have been a job that you wanted that you didn't get. It even could have been, I lost that fight with getting that sugar I said I wasn't going to eat anymore. Power is what gives you the opportunity to go beyond and do those things that you need to do. So I came here to tell you today that each and every one of you has that power within. All you have to do is first recognize it, and secondly, release it. So it's very simple. There are 5 elements, 5 key elements that you need to remember on how to release the power within you. The first is passion. What sets your heart on fire? What floats your boat? What is it that makes you want to get up every morning? Whatever that is, that's your passion. That's what you need to release. For me, it's finding joy. I was the person in that story, if you don't know by now. And one of the things people told me over and over and over again, how can you be so happy? How can you have so much joy? Well, I didn't want people feeling sorry for me. I find my joy in helping others and making them happy. And from that point in time, I've taken it and I've become a counselor. So now I find my joy in helping others in that format. And my passion is reignited every time I see the light go off in somebody's eyes, every time I see a relationship restored, every time I see someone empowered to walk out that door and grab life and do the best that they can. What is your passion? What brings you joy? Not only that, how do you release that joy to other people? Now, the very next element is originality. As you can see, I don't really look like everybody else, do I? Nor do you. Each and every one of you has your own unique, original blueprint. What I'm encouraging you to do is to embrace it, whatever it is. Like it. Release it to other people. I'll give you an example of some people who've done just that. Have you heard of somebody called Lady Gaga? I thought so. Well, Lady Gaga was actually an outcast when she was in high school. People talked about her. Guess who's talking now? As through her music, she's taken that passion and she's taken that pain and she teaches people how to love themselves. I could think of somebody else. Have you heard of Jay Leno? Jay Leno has that it factor. You know what the French call je ne sais quoi, something you can't put your finger on it. But Jay Leno is known for two things, his wit and guess what else? His chin. Now people picked on him. He even had a high school counselor that told him he needed to drop out. I guess the joke's on her now. I'll take you in another direction. There was a woman, a little nun called Mother Teresa. She gave her life wholeheartedly in order to serve the poorest of the poor. And that one woman touched so many lives that people came from near and far just to be in her presence. But guess what? You have it too. What is it? Will you release it? Even where you are in this space, you're next to people now. Have you taken the opportunity just to see what that it is in the person with you? Don't miss your opportunity because it will serve each and every one of us better. The third key element is wisdom. Now, you know, we find wisdom in many ways. There are many, many books. We go through the halls of academia. Many of us, we go to experts for different things. But you know, I want to challenge you to think about wisdom in a different way. There is a wisdom that comes in our inner voice. As I sat in that car, one thing I heard was a little voice that said, take your arm, keep your neck still. Why is that so important? I later found out that a C2 fracture is one of the worst fractures you can have because it's the bones that protects the brain stem. When the brain stem is touched, there's several things that can happen. And guess what? Not one of them is good. Either you can stop breathing, your heart could stop, or best case scenario, you can become paralyzed. Do I look paralyzed? No. Each and every one of us has that inner voice. I call it the wisdom that comes from our Creator. You may call it something else. What I'm asking, what I'm urging you to do today, don't ignore that voice because you don't know how important and how impactful it may be in you and in the lives of other people. There's also another source of wisdom that we often ignore, and that's a dream. Remember we said power is the ability to do above even what you dream, I could think of some other people. There was a woman called Madam C.J. Walker. And let me tell you about her. I feel especially close to her because she was the first African American millionaire. And she made her money out of making hair products. She had problems, and in a dream, it was clearly laid out, every ingredient that she needed. And I'm so thankful today that she took the opportunity to do that and also to impact other people to do the same thing. Well, I could tell you of someone else in a dream. Have you ever heard a Beatles song called Yesterday? Paul McCartney got the melody for that song, guess where? In a dream. So many of you have dreams that you haven't acted on. You have dreams that you haven't done. You have ideas, you have thoughts that you have not taken that one simple, powerful step to go and to make it happen. You have wisdom within you. Pull out the wisdom in other people as well. The very next element is excellence. Now, there was a man called Aristotle many years ago, and he said that excellence is what you do repeatedly. So that goes to show you that excellence is not an act, but it's a habit. Whatever you do, be purposeful in it. Whatever you do, you have to also maintain balance. One of the things that I found as I recovered, that if I worked a little bit too much on my ankle, guess what happened? The hip started hurting. If I worked a little bit too much on my hip, sometimes my neck started hurting. What is out of balance in your life? Are you spending more time on your career than you are with your family? Are you spending more time with your family and not taking care of yourself personally? Excellence then is doing the right thing and doing them repeatedly. So my challenge to each and every one of you today is, don't live a life of mediocrity, but live a lifestyle of not only excellence, but one of creativity, one of integrity, and one of purposefulness. So the very next element is resilience. You know, things happen. That one day I was going about my business. I didn't plan on having an accident. But resilient people have the capacity to adapt to any adverse condition, any change, any surprise, anything that happens. When you think about resilience, some people talk about bamboo. You've all seen the bamboo. It is very, very deceptive because it is able to be flexible more than you could think about it. The same goes with resilient people. You have the capacity to carry burdens and to respond to things in your life that you never even thought it would happen. Because you know what? Resilient people can bend and not break, and they can stretch and not snap. Are you resilient? Are you resilient? Are you resilient? One of the things that I will tell you that happens to resilient people, they know this very thing, that if they don't get up, what? They don't get better. So my challenge to you today is to release all that is good and that is needful in you, get up, and make the world a better place. Thank you.